See, that shows you that the last recording I did was so bad that I didn't do it right. So here we go. So the first thing I want to say, though, in introducing this guy is Rodney and I have known each other a long time. And one thing that I did.
Hello.
Hi there, this is Anna Rose. I was calling for.
I don't know what that is.
Yes.
Am I catching you at a good time?
Okay. Again, please mute. That was recorded. We have Rodney and I have known each other a long time. Something that I don't think agents do enough now that I used to do, and I think I used to do this because of when I played sports, is that you have to like know and watch trends in your game, and you have to know your competition or know people that are in the field that you want. Even if you don't meet them directly or anything like that, you kind of have to know them. I say all that is that long before Rodney became friends and we became friends, and which has been a long time, I watched Rodney long before we became friends. Rodney was the epitome of success. Back then, he used to wear a bow tie. See, now you're gonna know I'm telling the truth. He used to wear a bow tie to everything. He was at that when he came over to EXP, he was at the Berkshire office. But prior to that, before Berkshire bought him, it was Prudential. He was there. Before the Prudential, it was Century 21. Am I right so far, Rodney?
You got it. Yep.
Around a long time. Here's the thing, though. I'm saying that is in each one of those offices, all of that time, Rodney was always the top agent. Like I never knew him out there. You know, if he had a year or something like that, he wasn't the top agent or a quarter or something maybe, but he was the face of that. So now he's been selling real estate, I believe, 36 years. And I always get to say about Rodney selling real estate. There's not too many folks I know that's been doing it longer than I have. And Rodney is one of those guys, and at a successful high level. Rodney has unique style, and he's very good, very skilled. But I remember when Rodney proclaimed this, and he said it out loud, we were all going through the recession, and Rodney just decided to say, well, I'm not going to participate in the recession. You know, and you think about somebody saying that, and it sounded good. And it's like, well, yeah, sure you're not. Everybody's participating. Now, Rodney said, no, not participating in the reception. And he stuck by it. And Rodney doubled his business. And I want to remind you, when I say he doubled his business, in 2008, 10 million in 2008 is different than 10 million in 2024, 2023, wherever we at. When he said he doubled his business from 10 million to 20 million or whatever it was, the sales prices were lower than what they are now. So that's more transactions he had to do that. He did not have a huge or what a 15-person team. Him and his basic team were doing that. It was a different time. So the numbers, on top of them being big numbers, they were even bigger than that back then. And I'm sure his average sales price then compared to what his average sales price is now is quite a bit of difference. So that being said, the marketplace that we're in right now, and people, belly aching and they can't do it and I can't get a deal and all the other stuff that people are saying, I'm bringing to you someone that is a good friend of mine who's also on our success team, who actually not only did not buy into that theory, but he doubled his business and has been rolling ever since. Like always, everything is just on normal. So Rodney Johnson, my good friend, take the floor. I'm gonna shut up and put some more coffee in me, and the floor is yours, my man.
As you will remember, in 2008, that was the year that Barack Obama ran against John McCain for president. And during the campaign, they actually stopped campaigning for a day or two because the economy was just tanking. It was going down. And so they stopped. And I remember Barack Obama during that campaign saying, this is the worst recession since the Great Depression. So now flash forward to January of 2009, and we're waiting for Barack Obama to be inaugurated for his first term. It's early in the morning, like 5:30 or so, and I wake up and I'm stumbling across the bedroom in the dark. I don't want to wake my wife up. And all of a sudden I had this thought. The thought was, you can control your thoughts. Well, my thoughts went to immediately what we had just gone through. You know, it's the worst recession since the Great Depression. And then I had another thought. And if you can control your thoughts, then you can control your world. I thought, wow. I knew I couldn't control what was going to happen with interest rates. I couldn't control what kind of offers buyers were going to make. I couldn't control how sellers were going to price their homes. But I could control my thoughts. So I called my team together. My son was on the team then, and Robin was on my team. And I said, I've made a decision. I'm choosing not to participate in the recession. I hope you all will join me. And they all agreed. And the first thing that I did, I changed my voicemail. And so if you want to not participate in the recession that we're currently in, I would advise you to change your voicemail, because it made a big difference. Here's what I said. Hey, this is Rodney. Hey, I've decided not to participate in the recession. If you'd like to join me, leave your name and number at the beep. And people started leaving their name and number. And it's like, really, I didn't know that we could choose not to participate in the recession. And by the end of the year, when my income had doubled, my production had doubled, I remember talking to a celebrity at our church, and she said, you must really have been struggling this year with the economy and the recession and stuff. And I said, well, actually, I doubled my production this year. She says, what? How did you do that? I said, well, I made a decision not to participate in the recession. She said, well, you can't do that. I said, well, I did. And it worked. I saw her a couple of weeks later, and she says, I told my son, he says, you can't do that. And I said, well, we did. But it started with a decision. So that's the first thing. Make a decision. You know, and is your decision going to be, I'm just going to roll with the flow, and, you know, if interest rates go to 9 or 10%, and then, you know, whatever, maybe I'll go in unemployment. Oh, that's right. We're self-employed. We don't get unemployment. But anyway, the first thing was to make a decision. My decision then, as it is now, was not to participate in the recession. And if you were to call my phone now, you would hear something similar to what I just said. Now, the next thing that I did was I changed my talk. I didn't come into agreement with all of those people that were being negative. And, you know, and people say, well, you can't do that. You can't choose not to participate in the recession. I just said, you know, you do you and I'll do me. I'm not going to participate. And so that was one thing. And sometimes, you know, if some people persist, sometimes you have like really, really negative people. And sometimes you may just have to say, you know, not be around them that much. You know, if it's family members, that's a little bit tougher. But yeah, if you can make it so that you're not around people that are always just speaking negative things, then don't be around them. Another thing is to change your environment. And that is, you know, sometimes, like right now, I'm calling from my cousin's house. And so I don't have any control over my environment here right now. But when I'm at home or in my office or whatever, I can control that environment. And so you want to have things up that will inspire you. Maybe put a new screensaver on your computer with a great motivational or inspirational type of phrase, but just change your environment so that you're immersing yourself in positive things, because, you know, there are positive things out there right now. There are, you know, the stock market may be doing this, but there are some other stocks that are going to be doing this, or maybe it'll be another field. And what I found during that time in 2009, choosing not to participate in the recession, was I had to change some things. And environment was one thing, but another thing was I had to change some of the things that I did marketing wise. And so let's look at what is working right now. See, back in 2009, the social media was not where it is at all today. Back then, yes, we had Facebook, but Elgin, I don't think we were doing anything at that point in time with Facebook, no. So, but Elgin, he's got a great presence on Facebook and stuff. And there are other people that have great presences on Instagram. There's so many things that you can do if you're a new agent just starting out. There's so many things that you can do that don't cost either any money or very little money. And that would be social media. And so I just sent over RJ today a video that I had shot at a $14 million listing in Woodland Hills last month. And first off, I got permission from the agent, the listing agent, to do that. I said, hey, could I shoot a video of your beautiful home? And she said, yes. And I said, and could I post it on social media? And again, she gave me her permission. So one of the things that you could do if you don't have listings, you could go to open houses and ask permission. Do not do this without asking permission, because it'll get you in a world of trouble if you don't ask permission. But if they give you the go ahead, then go ahead and shoot it and then post it to your Instagram account, and put it on Reels. Isn't that what we call, RJ? Nod your head if that is it Reels? Yes. Okay. He's nodding his head. Yes, it's Reels. Another thing that we are doing right now with Instagram is that we're doing short 30-second or less videos, but just talking about things like, I think one of the most recent ones I did was how rich in a recession as opposed to just the normies and stuff. And they are making decisions to buy, whereas other people are like, oh no, I got to wait until the interest rates come down, or oh, I got to do this. I can't sell my house until it comes back up. But what we found back in 2008, 2009 is that while some people had to sell their home for less money, maybe even less money than they paid for, but then they could go buy a bigger house, a better house for less money as well too. So it became, it wasn't a lose-lose. It was actually a win-win, because they got out from underneath, having it too small a house or whatever, and got into a bigger house for less money. Yes, they had to sell their home for less money, but they also got to buy a bigger house for even less money as well. Another thing that we did back and then was we also focused, okay, where is the market going? I love the quote by Wayne Gretzky, the hockey great. He says, I don't go where the puck is, I go where the puck is going to be. And so I wanted to find out, okay, where's the real estate puck going to be in 2008, 2009? And we saw that it was going to be driven by foreclosures. And so that became one of the things that we were marketing toward, was getting listings for foreclosures and getting listings, short sales and that type of thing, because that was where the market was headed. Now, right now, we are not in a market that's headed toward foreclosures. That is not happening. So I would encourage you not to put all your eggs in that basket, because we don't know when the county of LA is going to, if ever, raise the limit that you can now finally file a notice of default. Because when COVID came around, they said, no more notices of default, and so the banks gave forbearance for a year or two and stuff. So right now, that is not where the market is going. It may change. We may see that lift in time, and then we may see some foreclosures hit the market. But that's not what's happening now. So what is happening right now? Here's what we're seeing. Duplexes, triplexes, quadruplexes, those are selling right now and are selling at a very fast clip and for great prices. I just had one that I didn't even put on the market yet, and all of a sudden I had 4 offers on it and stuff. So we sold it before I put it in the MLS, sold before processing. That's going to close 2 days from now. So that's one of the things. So maybe that could be a focus of one aspect of what is working right now, and that's the 1 to 4 units seem to be selling and selling quickly. The other thing is that the upper end is still moving at a good clip. A lot of times the rich people are not as affected by a downturn in the economy, and they're looking to buy, or they're looking to do a 1031 exchange on some big property. I just got a call the other day from an attorney and said, hey, my guy just sold his building for $20 million and he needs to buy something else right now. So there's things like that are moving, and that's the upper end. Now you might be thinking, well, how do I get into the upper end? My biggest listings, with the exception of one, have all come from expired listings. And so it seems like expired listings can be a great source in virtually any market. But I do things a little bit differently when I reach out to an expired. I don't do a form letter that you get from Top Producer or any of these other companies that sell those types of things. I don't do a form letter because it just goes in the trash. But I try to personalize it to the house. I remember I got a $12 million listing, and it came about because it expired. And this was in Chatsworth. And at the time, there had only been 2 other properties that had ever come on the market for $10 million or more. And so I wrote to the owners and I said, hey, I'm sorry your home didn't sell. Had you sold, you would have had bragging rights to the highest price sale in Chatsworth ever. As of right now, there's only the record is $5 million, and had your property sold, it would have blown right past that. I understand the significance of your home and its history in our community, and if you ever want to talk to anyone about maybe breaking one of those records, give me a call. And so I mailed a letter, didn't hear anything for 3 weeks. So I had written a book. It's called Recognize Your Significance. And it's a collection of 3-word phrases that things like find your passion, follow your heart, go the distance. And so I wrote a letter and included the book in it. And I said, I recognize the significance of your home in our community. I know of all of the films and television shows that were shot here and how iconic this home is. And I just want you to know that I recognize your significance and in promoting that home to the entertainment community. And signed it, years in real estate service, Rodney, and boom, off we went. I put them on my monthly postcard that will give you like the Dodgers schedule and the Lakers schedule and USC schedule and football schedule and stuff like that. And didn't hear anything from them for 18 months. All of a sudden, one day I get a call and the owner says, hi, I'd like to bring you up to look at the house. And we've done some things since it was on the market last. And so I went up, met 2 owners, and it became, now I had a phone number. Now I had actually met them and I could follow up. And I even brought someone to look at it before it was even listed. So they saw that I was working for them. So you can do something similar to that in any price range with expireds. But what I would encourage you to do, though, is find out something unique about that house. Look through the pictures of it when it expired and find something. Maybe you see like, oh, they collect stamps or they collect whatever. You see something in the photos and just find something that you can relate to them about. And they'll say, gosh, they took the time to see that we actually have a vegetable garden in the back or whatever it might be. And so just personalize it. That was one of the things that was successful for us as well, was going after expired listings. And one of those was an expired listing that was a 15,000 square foot home in Calabasas. And they dropped the price $3 million and it still didn't sell. But when you get listings, you get other things. And so I had a buyer's agent that showed that listing. And when I called to follow up with the showing, she says, yeah, my client's a builder and he'd prefer just to sell build his own house. And so I said, well, there's a 2-acre lot right next door. Do you want me to call the owner and see if they would sell it? He said, sure. Anyway, we got a $2.5 million sale for that lot based on a phone call. So that's one of the things. Once you get the listings, you need to be following up, because while if the market's turned and you may not sell that really big, high, expensive home, you may get something else. Like I did a $2.5 million land sale in Calabasas, which was a record at that time as well too. So Instagram, Facebook, expireds. Here's another thing that's working for us right now, and that is the term pocket listing. You probably heard that. It was real popular 2-3 years ago because there was nothing on the market. And so there were people who was like calling up agents or emailing them saying, hey, I've got a buyer. We've seen everything in the MLS. What have you got? Well, out of that came a company that grew up called the Top Agent Network. And they allow people that are in the top 10% here in Southern California to post on it that you can broadcast. Like if you have a buyer that's seen everything that they wanted to see, and they said, hey, I have a client that is looking in Westlake Village. They'll spend up to $5 million or $10 million, whatever the price might be. Well, I did two things here. I saw that post, and then I saw that one of the communities that they wanted to, buyer's agent wanted to show in, was where an expired listing in the $5 million range had just occurred. So I wrote a letter to them and explained that a colleague had reached out to me asking if I knew of anything off market. And a couple of days later, I get a phone call, and they signed a one-party listing with me to show this $5 million home. So that's another thing. You probably see in your emails several times a day things like, we've got buyers that are looking for this in these areas. If you're not yet to the point where you would be getting an invitation to be in the Top Agent Network, call me. I'd be happy to post something there on your behalf if you had a buyer that you were looking for something. So anyway, I'm happy to help with something like that. But that has been, I've sold 2 houses as a result of that. Another thing, as your reputation grows, or if you start farming a geographic area, and that's something that I think will work in just about any market, is getting to know people in a geographic area. And I did that during the time that I was in Chatsworth. And last fall, I had an agent call me and say, hey, do you have anything in Indian Falls? We've seen everything on the MLS. I got to spend up to $2.5 million. So I called some people that I knew, and they said, yeah, you can show it, but we need to buy something else. So came and showed it, and we put together a deal at $2.8 million. So one thing I've discovered about the pocket listings is that since they're not on the market, the seller is not that motivated sometimes that they're going to hold out for their price. And if the buyer really wants it, they're going to pay it, which is what this buyer did. So pocket listings can be another way that those are things that are working in this market. Another thing that's worked for us is handwritten notes. I've had two really good friends pass away recently, and I've been to their funerals, and I've seen a lot of people there that I hadn't seen in a long, long time. And some were past clients, others were just longtime friends. But what I'm in the process of doing now is sending them handwritten notes saying, hey, it was so good to see you at John's memorial service, and would love to connect with you for coffee sometime. It was something like that, and so that can be another way of generating business. I'm not calling or writing to them, to say, hey, who do you know that needs to sell? A lot of times they'll bring that up anyway. You just want to be interested in them and what's going on in their lives, and then their referrals and other things will come. Now, what's not working? One of the things that's not working for me right now is just to send out one just listed or just one just sold postcard. What I found is that for that to work, you have to be consistent. When I was a coach for Tom Ferry, we had a couple in Las Vegas, and they wanted to do geographic farming, but they did not want to door knock. And they also wanted to do it in gated communities, even where it wasn't allowed. So they set up and they would do 3 postcards a month. And what normally takes 9 months to a year to maybe get your first listing in a geographic farm, they were getting them in 4 to 6 months. And it was because of the consistency. And people were thinking like, oh, gosh, we see your signs all the time. Well, no, actually you don't. I don't have any signs up yet, but you're seeing my postcard or something that's coming through. So if you're going to spend money on a postcard campaign, please, please, please do a minimum of 2, and 3 is better, and keep it going for a minimum of 6 months. Okay. So that's one of the things that we want to do, is just try new things, experiment. We're trying some new things right now with the Instagram. As I mentioned, that we're doing some things whereby we're talking about things that rich people do as opposed to normies. And 2 of the ladies that I have mentored have just taken off in the last year, and they've been doing it through Instagram and TikTok. And it's Jen Horst and Karen Barrios are just killing it as newbie agents, and I'm so proud of them that they're using things that are not all that expensive. It's like Instagram, yeah, free, and then things on Facebook as well too. One of the things that we're just now starting to get back into is LinkedIn, and we did hire a company, and they are contacting people for us through LinkedIn and inviting them to things like this. Last week, I did this same talk, and we had, I think, 14 people show up. As three or four out of those 14 were ones that came as a result of our marketing through LinkedIn. And now, why are we doing that? One, we want to show people potential agents that would join EXP. We're showing them that we're not a recruiting company at all. We want to give you something of value. And so that's why they came. That they weren't really interested in hearing about EXP, but what they were interested in is like, how did you double your income in a year's time from 10 million to 20 million? So we want to show that. And so we're scheduling another one for the end of March. And this one's going to be a round table. And I'm going to be reaching out to one Elgin Walker and asking him to come on there. I haven't told you this yet, Elgin. You're just hearing it now for the first time. But we're going to bring around some of the people that are thriving in a recession and have them share some of their top 2 or 3 takeaways to be productive in this kind of market. RJ and I have talked about opportunities are everywhere, and we need to be more than just a one-tool wonder. Yes, use Instagram, but also include in that expireds, and do the handwritten notes, do the warm calling, we call it, calling your friends and stuff. And it's not necessarily to get a listing right then and there. It's not necessarily that intention. Like, I remember one time I called one of my past clients. We hadn't talked in a while. And we chatted, how are the kids, how are the grandkids, blah, blah, blah. And then 15 minutes into the call, she's like, oh, I didn't tell you, I got married. I said, what? Yeah. Oh, and Bob needs to sell his house. So RJ and I sold Bob's house. And then she says, you know what? We decided to move to Montana. So I sold her house too for the second time. But it just came from a call to just a past client, a friend, known for many, many years. And so, but you know what? I had this inner prompting, and RJ will tell you this, that I told all 3 of our kids growing up, pay attention to those inner promptings. Just like that morning when I woke up and I heard that inner voice saying, you can control your thoughts. And if you can control your thoughts, you can control your world. I paid attention to that, and I made some changes right then and there. But pay attention to the promptings. One time I had done remember back in 2007, there was the book The Secret was very popular at the time. And that was how thoughts attract things. And I was coaching for Tom Ferry at the time, 1 day a week. And they wanted us to do an exercise every day called your 10-10. Just write down 10 things that you were grateful for, 10 things you wanted to attract into your life. Well, I'm a Christian, and so one of the things that I believe is that when we pray, if we believe that we receive it, we'll have it. We have it already and stuff. So I just wrote down, I believe that I received. And one time I wrote down, I believe that I received a $2.5 million buyer. And that morning, I just had this prompting: call people whose last names begin with the letter L. And the very second person I called was, I said, Duke, I don't know if you remember me or not, but he said, Rodney, yeah, I remember you. We were just talking last night. Hey, we want to buy a house in Malibu. We'll spend up to $2.5 million. And 2 weeks later, we're in escrow, and he did, between his purchase and his sale, it was like close to $2.7 million. But I had that prompting to call people whose last names began with the letter L. And then that lady that I told you about who said, oh, I got married. Oh, sell Bob's house. Oh, sell my house. Yeah, that same day, I had this prompting: call people whose last names begin with the letter J. Her last name began with the letter J. Doesn't anymore because she got married and changed it. I didn't know that at the time. But just pay attention to those promptings, because they're out there. And, if we can latch onto them, like, it's been a fun, wild ride. RJ, why don't you unmute yourself? And is there anything that you wanted to share about things that you're doing now that would be a benefit?
You touched on most of it. I think it's all about getting in front of people, having conversations. One thing that we're doing right now, that we've been started since our call last week. If there's a baby yelling, she's
that's the
keeping me
cutest
busy.
granddaughter ever. So
yeah.
I say?
My apologies. But is getting our reviews up on different platforms. Right now, we're focusing on Google. You can get Zillow reviews. You can get all that kind of stuff. So we've been reaching out to people every day, asking them for reviews, past clients, friends, family. They don't even have to be someone you've worked with, just putting character reviews. One of my friends who I've known since I played t-ball with him, wrote a quick review talking about how, I've known the Johnsons for, I forget exactly what he wrote. He wrote a nice little review, never saying anything about, specifically about real estate. So you're not asking people to lie. But that increases your exposure on those websites. When people see your name, they're going to say, hey, he's got 25-star reviews, or 50 or 100. You start, we started from nothing. We got a few so far. We're hoping to get to 50 by the end of the month. But I fully expect to see multiple deals come out of just calling these past clients, calling these friends that I haven't talked to in a while. And, it might not even be their deal. It's like Dad said, a lot of times you're calling these people, hey, I haven't talked to you since your wedding, and I see your kids are playing baseball down the street from where I live. Like, let me know next time there's a game. I'll come say hello. Just opening those lines of communication with people that you maybe haven't talked to in a long time. And, I don't know what the numbers are, but everyone knows a realtor, and they're most likely going to list their house or buy a house with the most recent person they've talked to, or the first person that comes to mind. So it's all about being top of mind for these people. So it can be a combination of things: a phone call, a text message, an Instagram post, you know, a Facebook story of how you're out showing property in the rain, how you're, you know, look at this really cool house I just saw. Look at this really stupid bathroom I just saw. You know, just like anything you see when you're out there, put it out there on social media. People love real estate. Everyone's interested in real estate. Like, Dad's called a lot more people than I have in my, you know, in his career, but it's very rare that people don't want to talk about what's going on in the market. You know, interest rates, home prices, what's my home worth? What could I afford? You know, my neighbor just sold his house for a stupid amount. You know, I saw that stupid bathroom that you posted the other day. Can you believe someone decorated it that way? Like it's all about conversation starters and um, getting in front of as many people as possible. So, you know, I would encourage everyone. What we're doing is we're trying new things right now. Um, sorry, Dad mentioned LinkedIn. My financial advisor, guy who does my retirement accounts and that kind of thing, got an invitation for our Zoom event last week. That prompted him to call me during our conversation, just catching up, talking about, you know, the stock market, my accounts, real estate. He was like, you know what? I have a client who they want to get into flips. He's a contractor. They've been putting money away. They just don't know where to begin. Well, I told him, I was like, give him my phone number. 45 minutes later, the guy called me. I had an hour conversation with this guy. He's very green when it comes to real estate. They own their home, they've owned it for a long time, but they want to get into flips. And that's something that I've been doing over the last, you know, I flipped one myself that we lived in for a little while and been a part of two other ones in the last year. And so we were able to connect over that. And I have no doubt that I will be able to do business with that guy based off a LinkedIn invitation that my uh, financial planner guy happened to see. It was not the intention of the invitation to get a referral, but it turned into a potential referral for multiple deals, not just a guy who's going to buy a house and live there for the next 25 years. So it's all about having those conversations, having different ways to connect with people and trying things and trying it for more than a week or 2 weeks or a month. You know, give it 3 months, give it 6 months, and be consistent with it and see what happens. You know, and if something's not working, especially if you're spending money on it, don't hesitate to move on from that, but don't give up on things right away and try new things. So that's kind of what we're focusing on this year and trying to be
That's cool.
consistent and you know, yeah.
You know, too. So for those of you guys that haven't figured it out yet, because neither one of them, like father, like son, neither one of them happen to mention this, but RJ is Rodney's son, and they've been working together for a bit. And how many of you guys are picking up some great tips from some of this stuff right now? I used to get a head nod or something like that. I'm going to go over quickly, and these are just based upon some of the things that Rodney and RJ are saying that I'm doing as well, that also might help you guys, because I've been writing handwritten notes for years. Handwritten notes are boring because it's boring to do. But ask yourself this question: how many handwritten notes are you guys getting for anything? And when you get one or receive one, doesn't it stand out?
Absolutely.
What if
Yes.
you happen to have a handwritten note and you happen to put a $5 Starbucks card in that note? That they get in a note and a $5 Starbucks card from you, will that stand out? Absolutely. Absolutely. As Rodney and RJ were both talking about Facebook, those of you that have heard me say this before, How many of you got Facebook gives you everybody's birthday
Yep.
for that day? How many of you guys just hit the like button or just may say happy birthday in their comments? But how many of you would actually take a minute and go into their personal message, go in their DMs and wish them a happy birthday? And maybe you say something silly. So you're doing that, Leo. Maybe you even say something silly, right? And you know the birthdays that I like to talk about, the one best? The ones that I missed. There's some people's birthday I missed on purpose. Because now I can go back and say, Rodney, it's Elgin, man, I owe you the biggest apology. I owe you an apology because, like, dude, man, I forgot your birthday. Man, I can't believe I forgot your birthday. So here, man, it's a happy belated birthday. I hope you did something special, blah, 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 blah. How many people think that that stands out compared to somebody hitting them on a like button or that? These are things, man, that you guys are doing anyway. Rodney had mentioned the just souls. And like, if you're only going to send out one just sold and all of that. Let me tell you, I changed a year ago to all of any just listed and just solds at the most, I'll send generally about 50 around the neighborhood at the most. What I send them to is my past clients and my top clients. I don't care if they live in Pacoima and the house I just sold was in Glendale. They don't care. What I care about is the fact that they see that I'm active and selling homes. And that they can, I stay top of mind, and I stay top of mind for referrals from them, right? Rodney and RJ are doing reels and doing those things. I would also encourage you guys, if you're not using it in your YouTube channel or made one, get a YouTube channel. And something that I did not do in the beginning that I do now and am doing is you make a playlist. And one of your playlist items should be different things about home improvements and buyers. You should have a one of your playlist channels which specifically talks about different things that homeowners can do to sell, different things that they should do before selling their home, different stuff like that. A channel that's a playlist that's specific to buyers and interest rates and whatever else is going on in the market. But more importantly, I learned, if you guys ever, pay attention to a guy, Tristan Amuda, who's now with EXP, but runs and started the lab coach agents and Facebook and all this stuff. One of the simplest things he talked to me about a few months ago, which has really increased for me, is doing YouTube shorts. Doing YouTube shorts, stuff that's 50 seconds to a minute, and it'll show us a short instead of showing up as just one of your videos. The traction that I'm getting from that is giving me more traction on the videos. Obviously, we're all doing, so you're hearing about reels and that. I think RJ mentioned about LinkedIn. So the last few, well, say 3 weeks, I have been getting more intentional LinkedIn exposure. Is what I've been doing. How many of you guys have heard about ChatGPT?
Yeah.
So what I've been doing, and if you guys haven't, I'm gonna tell you, you want to make your life easier? Because like, how many times have you thought about, I'd put out a video, I put out a blog, I do a post, I'd send something out, but I don't know what to say. I don't have time to put the content together. So you know what I've been doing? I'll go to ChatGPT and I'll say something like, I'll ask it, give me 5 of the top reasons an owner will sell a home. And all of a sudden in a paragraph form, I'll get 5 things in like 10 to 15 seconds that all of a sudden I can now post on LinkedIn, add to it, change it if I want. I can do videos off of the whole content. I can do a video off of one video per 5 of the 5 items. You want to have content. You know how long this takes, how much time this takes? It's just stuff that you don't even have to think about. It's stuff you don't even have to think about, but you're getting content out there and you're getting your names out there. Just a couple more things that I would encourage you to do. I encourage everybody to do this all the time. Most of the newer agents never do this. They never do it. And I tell them to do it. The seasoned agents, you know, we already tend to kind of have done this, but I am going to tell you this. And some of you have heard me say it, some of you have not. Some of you don't believe it won't work. You don't believe it'll work because you've never done it. I'm willing to tell you, you need to make a list of at least 100 people. You need to make a list of at least 100 people. You should do more, but everybody knows 100 people between family members, workers at another place. If you have kids, they have sporting events. Don't forget your family. Don't forget people that you know from other businesses, because you have to understand something. There are people out there that know you and love you, but they don't trust you yet for real estate. They don't, because they know too much about you. They remember that you were selling Amway 6 months ago. They remember that you were doing these other things. They got a garage full of soap. They think of you about that. So now they're thinking, okay, so what's Elgin doing now? They love Elgin, but I don't know if I can buy my house with Elgin. But guess what they will do? Because they love you, right? They want you to succeed, right? You know what they'll do? They'll refer you. They'll refer you to somebody, because what they're doing is they're guinea pigging somebody to see if you're any good. They will refer you. I will tell you that if you have at least, and this happens to me every year. I mean, this is not something that I did once. Every year, if you have at least 100 people that you will touch 3 times in a month. And what I mean by 3 times, I mean, you send them a personal note. You send them a text. You give them a phone call and or a video and or a newsletter. I don't care. You touch them 3 times in a month. I will tell you that in a 12-month period, there's 12 deals there for you. How many of you guys could use 12 deals?
Me.
I mean, 12, there are 12 deals right there while you out chasing us and you trying to find a silver bullet and you waiting for the next internet lead to call and you're spending your money on Zillow and all that other old crap. 12 times. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be one of those people of 100 that are going to get you the deals, but out of that 100, remember, we're all 6 degrees separated. What you're looking for is not just them. You're looking to get 6 degrees of their circle.
Elgin, can I piggyback on that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so back in the 90s, I was listening to talk radio, and they had a guy on there by the name of Ken Cragen. He was a talent manager, and he had written a book called Life is a Contact Sport. And he managed people like Kenny Rogers and Lionel Richie and Trisha Yearwood and a bunch of others. He was a big deal in the 80s and 90s. And he was being interviewed on Entertainment Tonight. And the interviewer asked him, says, why does anyone need a manager? And he says, well, a manager, he says, I can take anyone's career to the next level, even a house painter in Des Moines. And he said the next day he had 19 phone calls from house painters in Des Moines saying, how can you take my career to the next level? But it's exactly what you said. He said, you've got to have 3 things happen in a very short, compressed amount of time. And so that's perfect. You send them a handwritten note. You follow it up with a text message. Then maybe you call them and say, hey, let's go to coffee or whatever. But 3 times in a month's time. And I know it will work. I know it. So RJ, write that down. We're going to do that.
But yeah, listen, you guys, the one thing about real estate is don't overthink it. Now, one of the biggest things that you heard Rodney say that stood out to me is he executed. He didn't just come up with a plan or make a say. He said he was going to make a change. Him and RJ, they executed. They made a change. So you can have all this information, and if you just sit around with it, you can get as educated as you want to. You can learn all the contracts in the world. You can be the greatest broke realtor of all time. But it's a contact sport. And you have to be willing to get in the way of contact, right? in a market that we have right now, a couple of things, in my opinion, and Rodney may share in all of you, but Rodney may share different theory than I do on this. But I believe right now that personally, I don't necessarily think that the market is going to take major dips, right? But I'm going to tell you what I do believe. I believe that there are going to be less homes sold. I believe there are going to be less homes sold. So that means that there's less homes that are actually sold, that the pieces of the pie are premium at this point, meaning that that's why you have so many agents that are leaving the business or this, that, and the other. Because if you're paying attention, yeah, we're getting slight corrections in different parts of the market and this, that, and the other. I mean, but hell, we're going up 20% a day. I mean, so what's 10% a day? You know what I'm saying? It's relative. But if you have 1,000 sales and the prices are one, and now you've got 200 sales, I mean, the prices haven't gone down, but the amount of market share that agents are getting has gone down. So remember this. This is something I learned. I forgot if it was from Mike Ferry. It might have been, I don't think it was from Tom Rodney. It might have been Mike. I don't remember now. But particularly when the market is in an area where it is right now, a conversation that you have does not have to lead into an appointment or a closed transaction. A conversation can lead and should lead into building a better relationship with the people that you're speaking to. Because see, I just don't believe that I can talk someone into buying $1 million house. I might be able to talk you into buying a $20 pen, but I'm not going to be able to talk you into buying $1 million house. But I can give you enough information. I can have enough conversations. If you're already considering buying $1 million house, I can show you value on why you should or should not do it. That's where you get your skill levels up. But you got to have conversations to do it. You can't be a secret agent. You can't worry about the word no, because honestly, and I know this sounds cliche-ish, but the word no just really means not yet. It doesn't even mean people don't want to do it right then. What it means is they don't want to talk to you about it right then, because they got other things going on in their life. If I'm on my way to take my kid to basketball practice and you call me up at 6 o'clock at night, you want to talk, you might be an okay person, but I don't want to talk to you right now because I got to get my kid to practice. Don't take that personally. Just take it wasn't the right time, right? Just take it as the right time. But build those relationships. Get as many people in your CRM as you can, your KV Core or whatever you use. Have a campaign to where it can drip on people all of the time, that you don't have to do all the time, that you can spend your time talking to people, building relationships, getting them into your systems, understanding that that is a win, even though it has not produced a check for you yet, because it is coming. It's like pushing the rock, the snowball uphill. It's tough. And it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. And all of a sudden you fool around and get to the top and the doggone thing starts going downhill and you got to run as fast as you can to keep up with it. That will happen. That will happen for you guys. Don't chase the silver bullet. Pick 2 or 3 things that you'll do consistently. Do them. You will be surprised. You'll be surprised. I also tell you, and this will be my last part, and if anybody has any stuff to say, and Michael would like you at least jump in for a second. I know we didn't talk you off of the thing, and of course Rodney in closing, but you have to be consistent with whatever you do. And I will tell you that if you consistently do some of the things that Rodney mentioned, maybe consistently 1 or 2 things that I've mentioned, one thing I know 100% for sure, you can change your real estate life forever in 90 days. 90 days. If you'll commit to some of the stuff that we're talking about now, and you'll put your head down, and you leave the negativity, like Rodney said, you get away from it. You feed your mind good books, or good YouTube video, whatever it is. You feed your mind like you want your body to be fed. Good stuff. And you do that for 90 days. Your real estate life can and will change. And if you continue to do that, it'll change forever. Because I want you guys to think about this. What if you did everything we're saying right now, and 90 days from now, you all of a sudden had 3 or 4 listings. You all of a sudden had 2 or 3 buyers in contract. You got 2 or 3 buyers that you're showing around. You got 3 or 4 people in your pipeline that'll want to do something possibly before the end of the year. Think about it. What do an analysis. What areas are you working? What's the average sales price? What's the average commission you'll get from that? How many of you guys be like, we're out here in Santa Clarita. I think our average sales price is, I don't know, Michael's more of a stat guy than I am. I'm an eye test guy, but I think it's around 650 still. So, if it's somewhere around 650, 700, whatever the hell it is, what's 2.5% of that? I'm not even talking about those of you that are skilled enough to get 3 or 3.5. By the way, I get 3.5% on all of my listings. I give away 2.5. I keep 3.5. And I disclose that to my sellers. They know that. And there's nothing I do under the table. I take 3.5%. I give away 2.5%. So whatever that number is for you, times that about what your commission would be. And if your commission, your gross commission is $17,000, if that's your gross commission, and you could put together where you actually had 3 sales, 3 closed sales in the next, say, 90 days, what would that do for your life? How would that change the situation you're in right now? I know it won't make you rich enough to retire, but would it help a little bit? So put your head down. Don't give up. Stay within the groups. Plug in. Plug in. You're not by yourself. You got 87,000 agents with this company that are down with you. You got a whole lot of folks that got your back, and you will be successful at it. So that's enough for me. Rodney, Michael, either of you guys have something to say?
Well, I just wanted to piggyback one other thing. You talked about how we used to call each other and stuff, and based on the stuff that you just shared here at the very end, I want to start doing that again. I don't know if you're open to it, but I just want to encourage each one here. Find someone, we call it an accountability partner, but at the beginning of the week, get to go and say, okay, I'm going to reach out to 15 either past clients or people in my center of influence and send them handwritten notes. And I'm going to do another 15. I'm going to do this. And then at the end of the week, get together, or the following week, you just say, okay, how did you do, and hold each other accountable. And you can take that to any level that you want to do. One time when I was involved in a coaching program, it's like, if we didn't do it, we had to write a check for $1,000. And if we didn't do it, he was going to send it to some organization that I didn't want him to send it to.
Right. Hey, you know what? We and on that note, and I'll let Michael jump in here. When I first got into business, we would do that. There were expires were big, and despite what people think, this isn't the first downtime in real estate. I've been doing this a long time. I went through a few downtimes of that, But even as Rodney's talked about the 2008 recession, there was a couple before that, right? And I remember when I first got into the business, and all the guys that I was in, I got into a group, and they were more veterans than I were. We used to come in the office, and we'd all have to be on the phone call at 7 a.m. If you were the last one and you were late, you had to pay $10 to everybody in the group. More importantly, though, when you came in at 7 a.m., you had to take your chair and put your chair somewhere else. You couldn't sit at your desk. You had to stand. You were not allowed to sit down until you got an appointment. You had to get a brand new appointment, or you stood your behind up all day. All day. And then you're in the office and ain't nobody else doing this, and they wonder why you standing and how come the chair is put in the conference room. A little embarrassing. But I'm just telling you, that's what accountability is, though. So no, Rodney and I held each other accountable, which was very helpful. Yeah, Rodney, I'm down. But that was very helpful for me as well, to have someone that you respect, that you don't want to let down, or you don't want them to see you not where you don't need to lying and cheating about it. Because if you're lying about it, you ain't gonna get no deal, and then everybody gonna know you was lying. So you do it. But anyway, and I see like Chris Harris is on here. He don't never say nothing. Chris and I have been friends forever. Chris and I had an office together, next to each other, at a Remax many years ago, and we used to hold each other accountable. He was a caller, I was a caller, and we'd hold each other accountable. How many calls did you make? How many? Just stuff to where you weren't by yourself, and you would do enough work to make sure that I didn't want Chris to outdo me. Chris didn't want me to outdo him. Very just comfortable competition in the sense of helping and making each other, grow and succeed. And Chris was tough because he liked us on the phone all the time. He called all day. So I'm just saying that's what it is. I know, Michael, you had something you want to say, brother. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
Hey, Michael, before you go, I've got to run. I've got to drive 45 minutes to my cousin's house, other cousin. So anyway, I'm going to say goodbye for now, but thanks for having me on. And I got a lot of what you said too, Elgin. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rodney.
Thank you, Rodney. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on, man. Drive safe, brother.
Bye-bye.
Take care. So no, what I was gonna just say is, one, thanks for Rodney for all the stuff, and it's kind of nice that he came on because with this accountability stuff that we've been talking about, you guys all know that I'm doing the Tuesday Power Hour, so that's a place that you can jump in. We make calls. It's great Rodney came on because I know during our Power Hour this week, Caroline, right, you were here and you were able to actually connect and did you reach out to Rodney?
Yeah, we talked a little bit, and Elgin said I can connect with him after the meeting so we can try to work that out, and I want to interview for it. Hopefully we can.
Awesome. So, I mean, we have these connections. That's what's so great about it. This is why I think, like, I don't know if you guys know me, I'm big on sports and everything. And this is why I'm so happy to be with Elgin and the success team, because my whole thing is we're a team. Let's get a team. Let's work together, right? Together we can all achieve more and all that stuff, but we do it. So one big thing I got out of Rodney's speech is, if you saw in the chat, I put there opportunities. I was listening to Zig Ziglar while I was driving in the car today. And he said, depending on what you think, opportunities are Nowhere, right? You could read that opportunities are nowhere, or you could read that opportunities are now here. How do you look at it? What's your mindset, right? So that's what you got to take from it and go. And then just building on the consistency, like Elgin was saying, you got to be consistent. But I don't want you to go out and run a marathon. Don't just say, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to call 100 people every day, right? And after 3 days, wow, that's tough. And now I'm stopping for 2 months. Start with 5. Get 5 down. Do 5 every day. You say, hey, that's pretty good. I can handle that. I'll go to 6. I'll go to 7. You build it up. But it's more important that you're consistently doing it every day and do this big number, stop for a while, and come back. So that's what's going to be the most important things that you guys have going on, and keep working. With that, okay, cool. Elgin's put his number and everything in the chat box and everything for you guys too. But I just think it's important that we reach out, we use each other as teams. I know we have some things coming in, so it's awesome that we keep plugging into here. Plugging in is huge, and you're going to keep growing. Elgin's always been accessible to me, whether he's busy or not. And right, I don't call Elgin and say, oh, he better call me back in 5 minutes. I know he's a busy person. If I write to him or text him or whatever, he gets back to me when he's free. And it may be later that afternoon or whatever, but I know he's getting back to me. The same for me, guys. You can reach out to me. We have everybody here. That accountability thing, if you have somebody in your area, right, you don't want to make $1,000 on it, guess what? Hey, Elgin, I'll get you these numbers. You get me those numbers. Let's meet up on Mondays. Every Monday. Guess what? We'll have lunch or we'll have coffee. If whoever didn't win, he pays for the coffee. It's something simple, easy like that. Okay, you got me. It makes a nice, fun competition. That way, even if you don't make it, well, okay, we both hit our goals. Oh, you made 3 extra calls. Okay, I guess I got coffee this time. So you can make a little challenge, make it like that. So that being said, I just think it's great that we're all here working together and everything like that. I know we have some more things coming up this week and something big tomorrow. I'm really excited about some of the stuff that I've got to share tomorrow. So if anybody's down here, and then we're going to be able to go into the IHOP there, we'll definitely look forward to that. Yes, Caroline?
I'm totally open for accountability. I'm actually just starting my 90-day cycle of calls, so I want to hit 20 contacts a day. So anybody, I'm open because I want to do it at least 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday. And so anybody open, I'm open.
No, that's pretty cool. Have you guys how many of you guys signed up for the Glenn Sanford event in March? All right, good. If you have not, and you've heard me say this before, it is extremely true and important. I don't know, but how many times do you get to sit in the same room and talk with a billionaire? Yeah, obviously you can talk to Glenn through chat, through workplace, but I mean, there's an event in LA. The whole month of March, the company is putting on what they're calling regionals. And our regional in LA, where there'll be lots of people that are coming here from, LA and adjacent. I know a lot of people coming down from Orange County already, coming down from other areas, but the one in Los Angeles is the only rally that Glenn's doing. All the rest of them are being done by other people, which are great people, by the way. But we get that dude, right? And I don't know, I think they raised it to $49 after the early schedules. It was $39, might still be that. I'm not sure. But it's 4 hours, I think, and you get to sit knee to knee, chest to chest, with the owner and founder of the fastest growing real estate company ever that we were a part of. And he will talk and share everything. Glenn is the type of guy you can be in a room with, and if you don't know he's Glenn Sanford and know the accolades that I'm giving him, you would know who he was. He is a perfect example when they start talking about the millionaire next door and all that type of stuff. I mean, Glenn is nerdy. You look at him and talk to him, and then all of a sudden he starts talking about business, and you all of a sudden you see, whoa, this guy's different. This is different. This guy's a different guy. So anyway, I would encourage you that if you can, to come to. This is as close as you get at this kind of price, to not have to go to like a shareholders meeting or go to EXPCon and spend the money to do that, et cetera, and all that. This is an investment that you'll make in your business, and I would guarantee you that you'll come out of it with some value. You'll come out of it with a better feeling about the company that you're with. It's different to look and see, and it's even different than avatars and going to the room. It's different though to be in a room every now and then with people just like us trying to do the same things with some energy, some synergy, and everybody sharing things. So if you can, I would encourage you to go. I think it's regionalrallies.com. You can look that up and see if it can fit in your schedule. See if it's, if you have time off, if you're working another job, if you can sneak out for 3 or 4 hours or something, and it, to not affect your salary. I'm not trying to tell nobody don't make no money, but I am telling you that this is an opportunity to make more money just by being in the same room with some of these people. So anyway, I know we've gone over. Thanks, Michael. Tomorrow, for those that can come, is going to be great in our EXP Explained and the other tricks that Michael's teaching with KV Core. If you guys can't make it though, but say you know somebody that's in the business or thinking about getting in the business, and you think they can find value with our team, just let Michael or I know. They are more than welcome. We will make sure that they stay attached to you. We'll also make sure we talk about you enough that you look good to them. And let's build this thing. Let's build this thing, right? Let's all help as many customers as we can, and let's help our own families as best as we can. So with that, unless Michael got something else, I'm ready to say good night. And I know Rodney's gone, but I'll thank him later for coming on, particularly this time of night, because Rodney's saying he's at his cousins and this, that, and that. Well, the cousins that he's at and all that are out of state. So he's 3 hours. He's back east or in the Midwest somewhere right now. So he's 2 or 3 hours ahead of us. So for free, this guy came on at night to talk to us for nothing. you know, for nothing. And he's on our team, but quote unquote, I don't think anybody here is in his direct downline. There's nothing that you guys can do that will affect the bottom line of his business, but yet he's here and sharing that. He's here and sharing. And that's what kind of team we got. That's what type of team we got. So God bless you guys. Thank you guys again.
Thank you for setting that up.
No, absolutely. I appreciate y'all. I want to see all of y'all succeed. I'm accessible.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, what's up, Tim?
No, I was saying thank you for bringing them on. Yeah, that was huge. I took a lot of notes.
Yeah.
And it was a good motivation to you know, hear that people that's just starting in 90 days have, you know, got their business to, you know, like a top producer business. So that's
man, let
huge.
me tell you, I when I got in this business, I got in this business with no money. I didn't have any training. There weren't setups like this in forums for people to help people. I had a Porsche, a 924 Porsche that I couldn't afford to keep up. It looked good on the outside. My starter went out. And but I had quit my job. I quit my job to get into real estate, and I was just married. And when I quit my job, my starter went out in the car. There was not money allocated for me to. The starter would have probably back then been about $75 installed. That wasn't in the budget. So I would always back my car up, and I would kickstart it myself like Fred Flintstone.
Yeah.
That's how I would get my car started. And when I made my first sale from sitting in an open house, I did something you're not supposed to do. These people came in. They what they described they were looking for. Because back then we had to go look at the inventory. You guys have it easy. You could look at the inventory on the computer. We had to go visit stuff. And there was a place that I had visited and looked at that I thought was perfect for them. And because I didn't have no training, didn't nobody tell me I wasn't supposed to close the open house. I closed the open house to go show them that house. And I messed up and had my car parked straight in the parking stop instead of backwards. So I had to try without them thinking they didn't see me to back the car up and kickstart it, trying to be cool and do that. And I took them to the house and you know, long story short, because it's a lot, they bought the house. When we closed escrow, they told me, just so you know, we saw you kickstart the car. and they told me, we figured if you were out working like that, and you said you were probably obviously knew that we knew you would represent and do everything you could for us.
There you go.
And I'll tell you this though, that just for anybody else, and for you to say that, for you to think that you can't do this, right? I did everything possibly wrong that you could do in real estate in the beginning. But you know what I did do? I did a lot of it. I did a lot of it because I quit my job. I did burn the bridge when I got in the business. I burned it up. They say you should. There wasn't nothing behind me. You say you have a plan A and plan B. There wasn't no plan B. This shit had to work. It wasn't an excuse about it. There wasn't anything else to it, but it had to work. So now here's the flip side. The second part of the year, I wound up being Rookie of the Year, and I closed 36 deals.
Wow.
I closed 36 sides. I didn't know anybody in business. I was 23, looking 19. I did 23 sides, and what we used to call the side back then, whether you represent the buyer or the seller. I don't know if you happen to have both. You know, you happen to have both. And my average sales price, again, because I didn't know no better, was like 110,000. I was working. No, I mean, yeah, but you know, but the point I'm trying to make to you guys is I didn't have no money. I didn't have no bus benches. I didn't have no buyer's aid. None of that stuff even existed. You know, we had just got a fax machine for the office to set your deal. The fax machine wasn't even considered. If you faxed over an offer and you didn't have a live signature on it later, and somebody else walked in with a live signature on the offer, and all you had was a fax, they got priority.
Oh, wow.
So that's a whole different time, man. It's a whole different time. So when I see people now, when you have pictures on the internet and you know, we had lock boxes, you know, they were lock boxes. You had to have a real key and all that other kind of stuff. It was different. It was different then. You know, it was different. There's so many things that you guys have right now that can make you successful. I mean, this whole internet thing, to be able to look at homes and Dude, we had none of that. You know, I know Chris is still on the line. I can't get Chris to talk, but he'll tell you there was none of that. It was just, you know, when you knock doors with business cards. You didn't have all of that. You just didn't have the stuff that we have. So I would tell you guys, if you really want to do this thing, and you really want to make this thing, and you got real serious goals about this, you can do this. You can do it strategically. You don't have to have a whole lot of money. You don't have to have a lot of that stuff. But you do got to have a little heart. You do have to have the wherewithal where you're going to push forward, that you're not going to be stopped. And you need probably some sort of a big why. Why are you going to do it? Why are you doing it? Why are you getting up every morning making these calls? Why? Because it gets tough. It gets tough. So when it gets tough, do you fold up? You fold up like a chair? Or do you keep going? And if you keep going, man, the rewards are great. The rewards are so great. So, all right, that's it. I'm done, y'all. Hell, y'all got me on the soapbox. Somebody gonna ask me my preacher again. I'm not. So, you guys have a great evening. I am gonna tape. This has been taped, so it'll be on our success team site soon. It'll probably be emailed to you, maybe. But you guys can re-listen to it if you'd like, and hopefully continue to get some nuggets. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you
Michael,
so
for all
much.
your help, my brother.
Thank
And
you.
Thank you.
I'll talk
Thank you,
to
Michael.
guys.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night.